question: is there an afterlife? The release of the Marios Leftheridis book, Stone Hearts, only in Greek for the time being, brought to the fore this age-old question that concerns people of all ages in many different ways. Answer: yes, there is indeed an afterlife. This has been confirmed in the last 50 years, from 1970 onwards, when extensive research and studies were carried out and many books were published about the millions of cases of people who have been reported worldwide and have caused a revolution in science, who, while clinically dead for a few minutes, came back to life and reported that they had consciousness and even out of body, while they were dead. The result of this is that the idea of afterlife, that was until now a religious and philosophical faith, begins to be accepted as a scientific knowledge. That is, now more and more scientists, writers and thinking people accept that our ego, our consciousness, still exists after death. Besides, the afterlife truth is also confirmed, in an undeniable way, by the Vicky Noroduk's or Vicky Umipeg, now Vicky Blazen's incredible experience, described in Kenneth Rinke's Sharon Cooper book, Mindsight, Near-Death and Out-of-Body Experiences in the Blind, which you can get from the net and is featured in the hour-long well-known BBC 2002 documentary, The Day I Died. An excerpt of with Vicky Noroduk's experience, lasting 4 minutes, is shown below. Vicky, age 72, was born in Dec. 1950, blind. She never had seen light, shadows, or darkness. Her only contact with the world was the sounds, the smells and everything she touched. At the age of 22, on February 2, 1973, she had an accident. She was taken unconscious to the Harborview, Seattle, USA Medical Center, and there her heart and brain stopped working. She was clinically dead. And then her consciousness returned and she began to see from above, for the first time in her life. She was scared because this was something completely unknown to her, and then she saw a body down on the bed and the doctors trying to bring it back to life. It didn't take her long and she recognized that this body was hers, from the ring she was wearing, which was her wedding ring, which she knew well because she always feel it, and from her long hair. She felt great, she could see and hear everything. She went out into the city, passing through the ceilings of the hospital, and for the first time she saw what the trees looked like, which she used to feel by touching them, and the birds she knew only from their chirping. And then she heard a wonderful sound of low and high tones and saw people walking in a brilliant light. It was impossible to describe the peace, tranquility and love that surrounded her. And suddenly she was pulled back and put inside her body. It was the moment that the medical instruments showed that her heart and brain were starting to work again. It was the worst moment of her life, as she later described it, because she did not want to return back to her body, but to remain as she was before. The case of Vicky Noroduk, which is one of the 21 cases of people born blind, mentioned in the above book, is completely inexplicable by science, because the brain, even if it was functioning and not clinically dead, was unable to provide visual information, which Vicky had during her minutes of death. All kinds of interpretations put forward by various scientists, until now, are therefore excluded, for the millions of testimonies of similar cases of clinically deaf of people, which, due to the progress of science, physicians managed to revive and bring them back to life, which were, until now, attributed to near-death brain experiences due to hypoxia, i.e. lack of oxygen that feeds the brain. The only explanation is that consciousness, the ego of man, still exists after death and functions freely, with all the memories of life, moving to any place it wishes. Man's limitations due to diseases of the body and brain disappear, just as Vicky's blindness disappeared, and man feels free to do and feel everything. Death is abolished. And this is absolutely certain for the millions of people who have had such an experience of consciousness while clinically dead. All of them, after their experience, firmly believe that life continues after death. They are not afraid to die. They say that whatever they pursued in their previous life, power, wealth, fame or something else, the most important goal in life is to learn to love. They change ideas and philosophy of life, change work, become more simple and humble, believe in God and help everyone around them. We are informed about all the above from Life After Life, 1975, the best-selling book, over 13 million sales, on near-death experiences, which coined the term, NDE, by Raymond Moody, the well-known American philosopher, psychiatrist, physician and author. Also from the book Consciousness Beyond Life, 2010, by Pim van Lommel, MD, world-renowned Dutch cardiologist expert in near-death experiences, who has done extensive research and concluded that the dead turned out to be not dead. I now see the continuity of our consciousness, after the death of our physical body, as a very real chance. You can order these books from the net. The consequence of all the above is that consciousness accompanies us eternally, as we will shape it now, as long as we have this body, which, through its brain, which is a computer, has the ability to express the free will of the soul and makes decisions against persons and things of the material environment and can thus shape consciousness towards good or evil. In other words, only now we can transcend our ego, become humble and attain our eternal peace of mind and goodness. Then, after losing our body, we become unchangeable. The soul will not be able to express its free will and we will exist eternally, unable to change ourselves. And if, while we have this body, we create ego, consciousness, good and humble, we enjoy it eternally, living in heaven, while if we create ego, consciousness, wicked, selfish and hellish, we endure it eternally, without being able to change and get rid of it. Hell and heaven, we ourselves create them, while we have this body, and we carry them eternally with us, without being able to change them. The desire of the souls of Hades is, according to Saint Paisius, 5 minutes to live again, to have time to repent. Watch now the excerpt from the award-winning BBC documentary about Vicky Noroduk's experience. It is only 4 minutes long.
Whilst near-death experiences change lives, they've also given some individuals extraordinary experiences they would never have dreamt of. The most intriguing examples are of blind people becoming sighted for the first time. Vicky Noroduk had been blind from birth.
I've never seen anything, no light, no shadows, no nothing. A lot of people ask if I see black. No, I do not see black. I do not see anything at all. And in my dreams, I don't see any visual impressions. It's just taste, touch, sound, and smell, but no visual impressions of anything.
In her early 20s, Vicky was involved in a serious car accident.
The next thing I recall, I was in Harborview Medical Center and looking down at everything that was happening. And it was frightening because I'm not accustomed to see things visually because I'd never had before. And initially it was pretty scary. And then I finally recognized my wedding ring and my hair, and I thought, is this my body down there? And am I dead or what?
We can't bring her back, get the crash truck!
They kept saying, we can't bring her back, we can't bring her back, and they were trying to frantically work on this thing that I discovered was my body, and I felt very detached from it. And sort of, so what? And I was thinking, what are these people getting so upset about? Then I thought, I'm out of here. I can't get these people to listen to me. And as soon as I thought that, I went up through the ceiling as if it were nothing. And it was wonderful to be out there and be free, not worry about bumping into anything. And I knew where I was going. And I heard this sound of wind chimes. It was the most incredible sound that I could describe. It was from the very lowest to the very highest tones. As I was approaching this area, there were trees and there were birds and quite a few people, but they were all like made out of light. And I could see, and it was incredible, really beautiful, and I was overwhelmed by that experience because I couldn't really imagine what light was like. It's still a very emotional thing when I talk about this because there was a point at which I could bring forth any knowledge I wanted to have, and it was like this place was where all knowledge was. And then I was sent back, and then I went back into my body, and it was excruciatingly painful and very heavy, and I remember feeling very sick.
Vicky's case suggests that her mind was working at a time when her brain was unable to supply her with such visual information, even if she could see.